Hello everyone, this is the Mind of Lilith and thank you for joining me today. I hope you're all doing well. A couple days ago, I shared my thoughts about Cheryl Strawberry's marriage to Ernesto, or Ernest Williams, who apparently has several aliases. And since then, I did a little more digging and I found out that Ernest was actually involved with another radio personality named Ebony Steele, who used to be a host on Ricky Smiley's show. It was alleged that Ernesto used Ebony to rebuild his life before moving on to Cheryl and proposing marriage to her within a year of him breaking up with Ebony. And now that I think about it, I honestly believe that he proposed to Cheryl on the show, or the radio show, intentionally to hurt Ebony and to feed Cheryl's ego, which is a part of the long con. So anyway, in my initial commentary, I stated that Ernesto was already grooming his next victim, the Mistress, who he's been talking to while he's in prison for fraud and other disgusting charges. I made a concerted effort to not call Ernesto the N-word. Not nigga, but narcissist, okay? But apparently Ernesto is a narcissistic nigga. And I'll explain why I believe this by referencing his latest conversation with his mistress. Against my better judgment, I decided to listen to this conversation between Ernesto and his mistress because I wanted to see if my assumptions about him would be substantiated. And unfortunately, they were. So the channel Phone Calls from Prison posted part 10 of the prison conversation between Ernesto and his mistress. I did not realize how much this lady sounded like Ariane Curie, who was Martell's mistress, Martell Hope from Love and Marriage Huntsville. I didn't know how much she sounded like Ariane until I listened to this latest conversation. And I also realized that one of the reasons why I did not like listening to Ernesto in the first place is because he is like a con artist and a liar. And he's talking nonsense 90% of the time. Like, as he was talking to Cheryl, I kept visualizing this, the cat meme when the cat is like zoning out. That's what was happening when I was listening to him talk to his wife because he's so full of crap, okay? Every time, or most of the time Ernesto's talking, he's running game. I wonder if he has Mercury square Neptune in his natal chart. That would mean that his Mercury's in the second house of finances and Neptune will be squaring that. I wonder if that is happening with him because he is a pathological liar with multiple personalities or something, okay? So I'm not a therapist or psychologist or counselor. I'm just speculating here. So anyway, Ernesto's running game every time he talks. And the mistress starts off the conversation, this latest conversation, by talking about how she doesn't age and how she's getting her body back in shape. And in my opinion, she's doing this to put Ernesto on notice that she's attractive, that she thinks she's attractive, that other men find her attractive, and she's also fishing for a compliment from him, in my opinion. The mistress believes that she's in control of the situation because Ernesto is locked up and he needs her right now. Okay, he needs her right now. That's not going to be forever, just right now. So the mistress is kind of optimistic and secure about the future of her relationship with him because Ernesto has been very attentive and responsive to her. Okay? What she doesn't know is that Ernesto is running game on her the same way he ran game on Ebony Steele and his current wife Shirley. Giving her his undivided attention is part of the long con. So this lady asks Ernest, if he's talking to anyone other than his wife. And this confirms what I said about a lot of women who are okay with a man being a cheater as long as he's cheating with them and not on them. Because a lot of women have massive egos and are always competing against the next chick. A lot of mistresses believe that they're better than the wife because the man is choosing to be with them while he's obligated to stay with his wife due to financial obligations, children, and so on and so forth. So the man is willing to risk his marriage to be with her, and in the mistress's mind, that means that he loves her and values her more than the wife. Okay? It is confusing. To make matters more complicated for the mistress, the husbands gas up their heads by making them believe that their connection is deeper than what it is. That it's true love and not just sex and convenience. So anyway, when the mistress asked Ernesto if he was dating someone else. She asked this, in my opinion, for 2 reasons. Number 1, she really wanted to know if he was seeing other women because she wants to be with him for real in a committed relationship. She is now invested in this situation emotionally, physically, and mentally. He has her locked in, okay? And number 2, she was fishing for another compliment because she was looking for him to explain why he wouldn't be talking to another woman besides her. Whether it's true or not is irrelevant. And Ernest, knows this because he's an old player. Ernesto knows exactly what this lady wants to hear, and he's going to tell her whatever he needs to tell her to convince her that they have a future together. He knows that he has her on lock because she's asking about other women while knowing that he's married. So that's not her business, to be honest, okay? The fact that a mistress is asking a married man if he's smashing other women is ridiculous and audacious. But it shows how interested she is in him. She thinks she's in control, but he has complete control over her because he doesn't really care about her like that. The person who cares the least has the most control and the most power, and he knows this. Her nose is open for him, so he already won. Now all he has to do is make sure she stays locked in for the duration of his prison sentence, okay, until he gets where he needs to get so he can move on. Ernesto told the mistress that he's not talking to another woman, and I'm inclined to believe him, and here's why. In order for the long con, narcissistic future faking to work, the woman has to believe that he's interested in having a long-term committed relationship with her. And in order to do that, he has to give her the boyfriend experience, right? Undivided attention, compliments, fake vulnerability, emotions. Like, this guy is really creepy. He's creepy not just because of his voice and this fake niceness that he puts on, but because he's pretending to have emotions that do not exist in reality. That's very creepy. So Ernesto needs to convince the mistress that they're in this together for the long haul, just like he did with Ebony Steele, because he needs her to trust him 1000% in order for the grift and the hustle and the come up to work. I told you guys in my first commentary that I believe that Ernesto was going to use his mistress, this lady, to rebuild his life once he got out of jail. She's his insurance policy. She's the soft place to land so that he doesn't have to live in a halfway house or a shelter and start from rock bottom. He does not want to come out of jail starting at rock bottom like he belongs. He's using this woman as a footstool or a stepping stool to accelerate the grift. Okay, more than likely he's going to put assets in her name when he gets out. That's the plan. Take out loans in her name or in her relative's name, right? And she's going to allow him to do this because she believes that once he becomes successful, she is going to reap the rewards of the grift, of her loyalty and her commitment. And he'll repay her with loyalty and a marriage and the soft life, okay? So by convincing her that they're in this together, he's eliciting blind faith from her. So whatever he wants to do, she'll let him do because she trusts that she'll reap the rewards in the end. She made an investment with her time, her energy, her resources, sacrifices, all this other stuff. And at the end of the day, you know, he'll give her the life that she's looking for with him. Okay? Ernesto needs the mistress to believe that he wants to happily ever after with her so that she'll suspend her morals, she'll suspend her discernment, and she'll be an accomplice to whatever crime that he needs to commit to get back on top. Because a lot of people are okay with doing foul shit as long as they benefit from it and it's not being done to them. So Ernesto is banking on this lady's character being in the gutter with his so that he can grift and hustle and scam his way into a fairy tale ending with her. And again, she will be willing to do this if she believes that he's 100% committed to her and it's an investment in their future together. Over the past couple of years, we have read many stories of scams being pulled. And, you know, these men are running scams on women and businesses and real estate and whatever. And the wives are complicit. They're accomplices. They're a part of the hustle and the grift because they think they're doing it together and it's going to benefit their relationship. Just ask Jay Morrison. It is not uncommon for wives to condone the fuckery that their men do if they think they'll benefit from it. Okay? So do not be impressed if a married man is only cheating with you, mistresses. That doesn't mean a damn thing. In actuality, he can get more out of you if you think you're in a real relationship with him. Just like with Ariane and Martel. Ariane and Martel, when he was married, talked all day and every day. Okay? And because of this, Ariane believed that she and Martel were going to be in a committed relationship with each other at some point, which is why she had a baby. However, after Melody divorced Martel, Ariane was downgraded from a girlfriend to a homie baby mama because men know how to compartmentalize sex from feelings, and most women do not. Ariane thought that sex and accessibility and her suspending her morals and her discernment and her character, right? Her allowing herself to be used as a weapon against Melody would cultivate a sense of trust, responsibility, and commitment and love for Martel. And it does not, okay? Ariane honestly believed that sex, pillow talking, cupcaking, and a couple of bills being paid meant that she was going to replace Melody, when in actuality, Martel was doing all of those things with her to get her to give him everything that she had. Her womb, her loyalty, her dignity, her time, her self-respect, and even her sanity. She gave, even her youth, I forgot that part, her youth too. She gave him everything because she believed that they had a future together. Just like this chick being groomed by Ernesto to give him everything when he gets out of prison so that he can rebuild faster. He needs her to believe this. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's not seeing anybody else. That doesn't mean he loves her and wants to be with her. So during his long response to this mistress about why he is not seeing other women, he mentioned that he likes her character. And I'm not gonna lie, I was laughing. I cackled when I heard him mention the word character. I said, what? You're implying that a woman who is having an affair with a married man who's in jail is of good moral character. He didn't say good character, I don't think. He just mentioned character. But the implication is that she had good character, right? And, you know, he said her character, not her sex, made her attractive because most women avoid him because they can't handle him. But because she's a boss, that's the word he used, because she's a boss, she has the character to handle a boss like him. Now, Ernesto told half a truth. A lot of women around him avoid him because they can smell the grift and the hustle and the scam a mile away. But he's making it seem like the other women aren't strong enough or good enough. They don't have enough character, or their character isn't strong enough for him because he needs a woman that's about her business, like Ebony, Steele, and Cheryl Strawberry. When narcissists date women, they tend to date women who can elevate their profile, right? When Ernesto had the opportunity to catch a bigger fish, because Ebony Steele, she was kind of popular, but Shirley's more popular, right? And so because Shirley's more popular, that automatically elevated his status. Okay, that made him look more prominent, more respectable, and that's a part of the grift. And now Ernesto can use his association and his marriage to Cheryl to make it seem as if he's looking for another woman of the same caliber. And if he chooses the mistress, it means that he's seeing her, or he's equating her value with Cheryl's, which means that she's a boss too, which automatically inflates the mistress's ego, right? It inflates her ego because, oh, I'm a boss chick just like his ex-wife. Look who he was married to. The same thing Martel was doing with Ariane. Look at who I'm capable of catching. If I'm with you, you should be lucky because I can get much better. Look at my ex-wife. So you should be grateful to be in my presence. And now the mistress feels more significant or more valuable than she actually is. Y'all see how this works? Okay? Do not let these men blow up your ego. Right? Right. So I read somewhere that Ernesto's a Capricorn. So this kind of tracks. Capricorns don't mind dating older women because they usually have their stuff together, and Caps like that. They like women who make them look good, who are respectable, but they're also, you know, freaks behind the scenes. Okay? This lady, this mistress, sounds way younger than him, and she sounds very green, and he's going to run circles around her. As a matter of fact, she already lost because she believes most of the bullshit that he says. She thinks that when Ernesto gets a divorce, they're going to be together happily ever after because he loves her and values her because of her character. No, he's going to be with her to rebuild his life. And once he's done with her, he's going to level up with another woman who has more to offer. Most men do not stay loyal to the woman who was down with them when they had nothing. Just ask Steve Harvey. Just ask Martel Holt, both of whom are Capricorns. Okay? When Ernesto said that he liked her character, he implied she was a good person and was therefore doing the right thing by entertaining him while he's married to another woman. Ernesto, or Ernest, knows that the longer he's in jail, the more likely his wife Cheryl will divorce him. So he's trying to seal the deal with this lady, this mistress, for when he comes out of jail. And I've said this before on my channel multiple times. I said this when it came to Martell and SHIRLEY. I said this when it came to Martell and Ariane. I'm saying it when I said it when it came to Derek Jackson and his women that he was dealing with. As long as a black man is attractive and he's relatively in shape, he will always have options. He will always have options. He doesn't have to invest in or commit to a black woman, or anybody for that matter, because a good looking, single, in shape black man with resources is considered a unicorn, a lucky unicorn, right? He's an endangered species. So most women who are in their 40s and 50s and 60s would be happy to bend over backwards for a black man who's single, who's still in shape and has his stuff together. Even if he's 60, 65 years old, doesn't matter. He can date a 50, 55-year-old woman and she'll think that she won. So he knows that he has it in the bag. All he has to do is come out of jail, use this lady for a come up, and then, you know, leave her for somebody else with more resources. Okay? So Ernesto knows that as long as he keeps himself in shape, he has all of his teeth, and he is groomed well, he can catch another successful black woman who is desperate for a king. Ernesto, in his response to the mistress, stated that he believes in God. And if he sees God in a person, he has to roll with that. He's implying that he sees God in this woman. This woman is godly. Even though she's having an affair with a married man who's in prison, that don't matter. He sees God in her. So now he's venerating her. He's feeding into her ego. This is love bombing. I'm putting you on a pedestal. I'm saying all these positive things about you to get you wrapped around my finger and to make you believe that I'm actually in love with you and invest in a long future with you. Even though I'm in jail for scamming and I'm currently married, that don't matter. That's her. It's not you. You're special. You're godly. I like your character. It's not about sex anymore. I'm an old man. It's about who your inner beauty. You know, I can talk to you about anything. I love you. I trust you. Right? You can't get that with other women. The connection I have with you, I can't have with other females because they don't get me. You get me. You're special. And this lady is eating it up. She ain't saying nothing. She's quiet. Okay? So now she feels more special than the other women. And so she's more inclined to allow him to disrespect her, to put her in danger, and all this other stuff because, you know, she believes that she's going to get a return on her investment. And again, he comes off as a nice guy. He told her, you don't need to be scared of me. I won't put you in harm's way, right? If you guys remember in SHIRLEY's initial conversations on the phone, she was like, I can't believe this is you. This is not who you are. I refuse to believe this. You've always been nice to me. I refuse to believe these charges. I refuse to believe it. This is not you, right? Because he's a nice guy. Doesn't mean he's a good guy. He's nice to her. He speaks to her softly. Doesn't really curse at her. He's not a drunk alcoholic cursing her out, right? Compared to the mutant degenerates in the black community at the bottom of the barrel, drinking, smoking, drugging, raping, robbing, all this other stuff, he's considered a catch. Ernesto's considered a catch among many black women, especially in Atlanta. Okay? Shooting fish in a barrel. He tells this lady, I won't put you in harm's way. You're safe with me. He didn't say that part. I said that part. I won't put you in harm's way means that you're safe with me. I'm going to protect you the way your daddy didn't protect you. The way your mama didn't protect you. The way that society doesn't protect you. I'm going to take care of you. You won't be harmed by me. And then he tells the girl, you have had a lot of trials in your life, but don't focus on the past. Just focus on the future. If you focus on the past, you keep running into the same people, right? This is somebody who burns their bridges. Okay? When someone says don't focus on the past, number one, they want you to forget some foul shit that they did to you. And number two, they want to run away from their past. They want to start over again. Start a new leaf, a whole new life, new personality, new identity. Hence the multiple identities. Okay? And then he tells her, you earn the respect to talk to me about anything. So he's implying that he respects her. Respect is different from sex. It's different from love. That's deep. I respect you. That means I value you. That means I won't ever hurt you. It's about us, me and you. Okay? He also tells her that other women can't take your spot, just like I'm not concerned about other men being with you. And he's not concerned about other men being around her because he loves her and he's safeguarding her for himself. He doesn't care because, you know, fuck with her like that. As soon as he gets done using her for what he wants, he's out. Trust me. He may even end up marrying this lady. But the marriage is just a setup for a bigger grift, because when you're married, now there are shared assets and resources. So now I have access to your network and your net worth as a married person versus being single. So the marriage means nothing either. This man's a sociopath. He also said material things you can get 1,000 times over. They say it in the Bible and the Quran. So he's a religious person. He's spiritual. He's biblical. He has faith in God. He's a good man, right? You can get it 1,000 times over. Yeah, because you're scamming. You're stealing money from other people. You're not working hard for that money. You can tell your wife to throw away her wedding ring and not throw it away. You can tell your wife to let go of the wedding ring, let go of the car, the house, or whatever, because you didn't work hard for that money. You didn't put any sweat equity into building your empire. You just scammed your way to the top. So of course it means nothing to you. Nobody means anything to this person. This man doesn't value people's time, resources, energy, emotions, nothing. He is low-key, high-key, a sociopath, which makes his voice even creepier because he sounds like a harmless, helpless, innocent old man, but he's nasty as hell and very dangerous. So now Shirley is going to lose everything behind his man if she stays married to him. And if he gets out of jail before the end of the year, I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to reconcile with Shirley. But because she sees him for who he is, it's going to be hard for them to keep running game on her. Now I see you for who you are. I don't put you on this pedestal anymore. I'm not seeing you as this venerated special person. You're a grifter and a scammer. And nobody wants to be looked at like a grifter and a scammer by their partner. That's not going to work. That's embarrassing and it's demoralizing. And it's humiliating. So more than likely, even if he still wants to be with this lady, his wife, he really can't. He would have to work really hard to redeem himself. He would probably, bring God into it in a church and become a pastor for the grift and make this lady his first wife and fleece his congregation and live in a big ass mansion in Atlanta, right? Part of the Bible Belt. It's, the game is the game. I've never been in the streets and I've never dated anybody in the streets, but it's quite evident what's happening here. Based on the way that he treated Ebony Steele, the way he's treating his current wife, his criminal record. Like, this man is a professional scammer, grifter, and narcissist. I'm really interested in his backstory. Not that I'm going to look it up because that's a bit much for me. I don't like doing that to people. I don't like doxing people at all, actually. But he seems like somebody who's a money-hungry, narcissistic sociopath. I mean, this is creepy and scary as hell. Imagine being married to somebody who is always nice to you, respectful, and they have a double life that's diametrically opposed to the person that you're living with, talking to, having sex with, sleeping with every single day. That's creepy as hell to me. I would have a nervous breakdown. Like, I'd be so paranoid. Like, yo, I've known this man for this many years, and this entire time they were somebody completely different. It's creepy and scary. Yeah. So hopefully if the mistress is listening to this, she'll break up with this guy. But knowing how things are in the black community, it's not difficult for any black man who has all his teeth, who's relatively good looking, to find a woman, especially as he gets older. It's actually easier as he gets older because there are more single older women than there are men. So now these older women are more desperate and they have more money. So it's not about money anymore. Their standards are lower. I have enough money to take care of myself. I got a nice place, so I don't have to worry about that. I can be a sugar mama to this dude. The guy also mentioned, Ernesto also told the lady that he didn't want to be a sugar daddy, which means that he's looking for somebody to take care of him. In his case, he wants to find a sugar mama. Shirley, in my opinion, was like a sugar mama to him. Even though he was using money to scam and grift and hustle, she had more money than him. So he wants someone who can take care of themselves too, but also take care of him. He can't be with somebody who has no money. That's not gonna work. Unless he's given access to all of her personal documents, social security numbers, certificates, birth certificates, all this other stuff, then she becomes an asset to him. He's a social climber. He only values people based on how useful they are to him and his schemes. He doesn't care about anybody. He told the mistress that he doesn't even talk to his kids. He talks to her more than everybody, right? If she calls or texts him, he's at the ready. He's available to her. Because again, he wants to convince her that he's actually interested in her and she's a priority for him, which will make her treat him as a priority in her life, which means that she'll let him do whatever he wants to do to get back on top because she believes that he will bring her up there with him and they'll be there together. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. I look forward to reading your feedback. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.